Alright, hey vinyl community, Jeff here with a non-vinyl video. Promised over the past couple of videos that I was going to cover that stack of CDs I had up there. So let's get into these because I had these. Now, I do still buy CDs because of course not everything's on vinyl, and there are great things that are coming out on CD. A lot of things that are just, you know, smaller budget. But and so I've gotten quite a few. This is dating back, I guess, a couple weeks, but there was like a big influx of them in the past couple days, and so I thought I need to cover some of these. So let's jump right into this one. This one came out a couple weeks ago, and this is a 3-song single by Ron Keel. So this is a new Keel. If you follow him on Facebook or any place, YouTube or whatever, you've seen the video for this song. It's just a single. It's got 3 versions: the regular, instrumental, and a radio mix. There is a video available for it. It's autographed, of course, you can see. And I don't know, I guess this song has kind of a, we know he went into the whole country thing back in the days in between when hair metal was out, and so he still has, on his past couple albums with the Ron Keel Band, still has that southern rock, country rock feel. This one is it's a little more on the mellower side and has more of a country song feel. But great stuff. I love him. I love his voice, and anything he does, I'm gonna pick up. So I did, and I'm a sucker for this. Here it is. I'm assuming at some point maybe it'll be released as an album. I don't know, but wanted to get it. It's autographed. It also comes with one of these picks. That's the KRFK. That's the the record label type thing. So anyway, and while I was at that, I picked up The Fifth. Now, this is the 2021 release by the band called The Fifth. And they are a band that actually Ron Keel has signed and is working on a new album with them. So this is their 2021 release. It's a 5-song, I guess you call it an EP. They had a couple releases prior to this. They had a 2020 album, a 2008, and a 2003 release. Straight up, you can find their video on YouTube for Shake Little Sister. And, it is straight up right out of the early 90s sleaze, rock, metal, whatever you want to call it. Gritty, just, yet melodic side of things. Great stuff. I saw the video and I said, yes, I want to get this. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do on Ron's label. All right, up next are some more releases from Ionian Records. I've mentioned them in the past. They're one of those labels that has been reissuing long gone, past classic, great, usually indie releases, demo releases, custom releases from bands of the late 80s and 90s that fit into that melodic, sleaze, glam, hair, metal, whatever you want to call it. They're in that genre that many of which have gotten overlooked because, of course, in the 90s, these bands were doing it, but they were phasing out at that point. So they continue to reissue just some amazing stuff, and this batch is no different. Okay, first up is this one I was looking forward to when I read about it. This is Hail Mary, made up of a couple former members of Leatherwolf. Anyway, it's going to sound just like you'd expect. It's sad that there's so many great bands like this that sound like this that, put out this material and didn't go anywhere. But, that's just my sweet spot. And that's what this kind of stuff is my sweet spot. Ionian Records, you're going to want to check this one out for sure. Check out all of their stuff. I have not found one that I regretted buying. This one, really hot. And I'm going to tell you what. I have a hard time getting this one out of my player. Jones Street. This actually was released, I guess, as a CD at some point called Dancing with the Devil. This is a reissue, and they remaster them. Most of these are recently have been remastered by Rob Caldwell. I'm not sure if this one is, but he works for them too and has been doing it. But this one, I don't know. I just play it and I play it and I play it and I play it. It's just right in that spot. I mean, the vocals, the guitar, everything, and it sounds professional because it was an album that was released back in the day. Most all of these again are going to be mid to late, middle 90s stuff, early 90s type things. But if I could say check any bands out, I would say check out Hail Mary and Jones Street. These two are two of the newest ones that to me just blow me away. I mean, if you're into that if you're into the Guns N' Roses and the Skid Rows and bands like that, this is right there. This is right there. You're gonna want to check these out. You can go online. He usually makes videos for a lot of these. And then this one, another excellent band. This is Charlotte. The band is excellent. I love this. Again, another one worth checking out. And he does occasionally dip into modern bands. This band is still around. This is the latest from Miss Crazy. I believe I showed in the last batch where Miss Crazy put out 2 covers albums, and they did a bunch of cool cover tracks. And anyway, so they are a modern band. They're still around, and this is their newest album. If you watch the videos online, they sound kind of electronica, new wave-ish at times, but they're really kind of not. They got a heavy vibe, but they do have a digital at some point vibe, and it's just kind of, I don't know, it's hard to describe. Honestly, I listened to this whole album and I thought that's a great album. Then I saw the video and I'm like, wait a minute, is that video on the album? I mean, sure enough, it's the title track, but it wasn't like that was a dominant sound. So when I heard that as a standalone song, it kind of, for a second I scratched my head and think that doesn't sound like the album I listened to, but it was. Okay, so that's it with the Ionian Records. Next we're moving into, these are going to all be things that came from the world of Rock's Records, of that world, and No Life Till Metal. Madrost. This is the From Crips to Chaos Live and Raw. Madrost is like Scott's little band that he has just been pumping stuff out by them. Modern day thrash band. And Scott at No Life Till Metal has been reissuing all of their stuff on CDs and on vinyl and all this. So this is just a live and raw. It sounds great. It's got the 2010 and 2009 and 2008 demos, and a live in San Diego 2012. And it's it's obviously, it's more demo quality, but it's still high quality demo. So it's not like you're listening to raw 4-track tapes from yesteryear. They just, they sound good. They just have a little bit of a rawness to them. So yeah, it's loaded. As you can see, it's got just a lot of tracks. It's loaded. If you like Madrost, if you like your technical sort of it's death metal. The demos are a little less aggressive death. I appreciate that more than some of the stuff they went into later. Mainly just the vocal styling. I like it when it's a little more understandable. So anyway, and then okay, moving up. This is this one just came out around last week. This is Leviticus. This is really the only other thing by them that hadn't been reissued yet. Sadly, it's probably not going to come out on vinyl. This was the original 4-track EP that the band put out in 1980. What was it? 82. It's their native tongue. They're singing in Swedish here. 4 songs. The songs did not go out to be on any other album, so it's not like you're listening to just Swedish sung songs that you already know, like the last album that they reissued on vinyl and CD, which was also sung in the Swedish language, but that was later, translated to English. This is totally new as far as that goes. It's like their early EP, and it's been reissued on a very minimal, like 200 copies. It's in a digi-type pack, folds out, regular silver CD. Came with, I don't know if all of them come with, but mine did, came with the round sticker that looks like the album artwork, or the back of it actually. And I love Leviticus, and I love having this. Now, this was originally only released on vinyl, and it's near impossible to find. If you ever see one of these covers in the vinyl record format out in the stores, for sure, buy it for me, unless it's too expensive. This is really hard to find. I haven't seen one of these for sale hardly at all for like ever. So it's been reissued as the first time on CD, and it's just great to have. So we'll go from there. All right, up next is a band called Antioch, Spontaneous Combustion. Now this is funny because back in the 80s, before I discovered this band, I was in a band and we called ourselves Antioch. This album came out back in the day. I had a VHS tape of them and everything. And they were just your standard rock band. They were kind of, at the time, I even kind of thought they were cheesy, but I had to get this just because it's been totally redone. That photo right there, I sent that to Scott for this collage because I still had the promo photos. Because back in the day when I did my magazine, they sent me the video and the cassette and all that. So this was only on cassette. Now it's a CD release. hard rock, you know, early Christian hard rock that, you know, is middle of the road, average stuff. This was a great one. Latter Rain 2. Now, a couple of months ago, Latter Rain came out. This was a band that put out basically some recordings, demo, and didn't do anything, didn't really have any success. And this is like their early recording stuff. Well, it turns out they had a second album of stuff they were working on that never got finished before the band broke up. So because of this, the guys in the band, I guess from what I'm reading, got back together and finished this, and you know, put this out now as a second album. And this sounds kind of, you know, a little demo quality. This actually sounds like album quality. I mean, it's really smooth. Now, if you are a child of the 80s, and if you had MTV in the 80s, when I saw this guy's name and thought about it, I thought, you know, I do remember that. But do you remember this one video on MTV in the day of this guy, long hair, and he had this massive drum set. It was all like, was it tiger striped? Yeah. Massive all the way around him. And he sang and he played drums, and it was just, I mean, the biggest drum set you've probably ever seen. And it was like a video. And it was kind of AOR hard rock at the time. Anyway, that's this guy, Luis Cardenas. He is the vocalist for this band. It doesn't say he plays drums, but I think one of them, he might have done some. But he sings, he plays guitar, he plays drums. He's an all-around musician, and he did this band back in the day, but then he did an album, a solo album with was it Animal Instinct or something. And that video, it was on MTV. Anyway, great stuff. And so now there's 2 Latter Rain albums. Just great melodic, you know, 80s, early metal type stuff. Now, I mentioned a while back when I was talking about Fear Not that I was getting the Fear Not CD. I mentioned it when I showed the vinyl. And yes, now I know, you know, how am I supposed to know? Anyway, yes, I've been told by numerous people. I mentioned how much I really like the song God's Country on here. And yes, now I know it is a cover tune. I mean, you know, it doesn't say anything on here about cover tune. It's just there, so I didn't know. Shows how much I know about country, right? And then while I was at it, I went ahead and picked up their EP. As I mentioned, I really, you know, ended up really enjoying the new singer and getting into it, so I picked both those up. Just a quickie on that. This is also Scott related. Over there at Rock, she does occasionally get stuff that they don't put out, or that No Life Tomorrow doesn't put out. And this is the first 2 Banshee, their EP and their album. This was reissued by Dive Bomb Records like in, I don't know, 2015 or so, 2016. And they got some of them over there in stock, a handful of them. And so while I was ordering it, I ordered these. Banshee's another band that Scott at No Life Till Metal has put out some of their stuff, reissued on vinyl and CD, a lot of their material. Just great. They're still around as far as newer album in the past 10 years or so. Great, you know, metal of that time frame. This I don't know a whole lot about. I kind of know about, but Frank's Enemy. This is, they only made 50 of them. I'm a sucker for limited. I got 1 of 50. Only pressed 50 of them, period. I got number 2450. He is in the band The Lead. The Lead is a early Christian punk band that I never really liked. I never got into them at all. And so I bought this. I just got that in. Then up next is some CDs that I got. Well, let me see. Hold on. There are 2 more. These also came from Rocks. Again, these are, they were carried by the store, but not something they put out. Scarlet Rain. This was a reissue. I don't know. Golly jeepers. This was reissued by Limited 2000. I've got number 1471. It was reissued. Okay, so this was an album. I had this album back in the day. It was only on, it was on CD, actually, I think, when it first came out. 1990. U.S. power metal, melodic, soaring, Queensrychian type vocals, kind of a poor man's Queensryche at times, just kind of great stuff. Young guys. Had this album, loved it back in the day. It came out on CD and cassette, went away, blah, blah, blah. Was reissued on Arcane Steel Records in 2008. And that's what this is. They got their hands on a couple of them. It's been, you know, updated. It's got some bonus tracks, etc. And so they got some of these in. I grabbed a couple. Now in 2011, this was also reissued on black and purple, 2 different types of vinyl. And I had it on my wish list for a long time, but it's hard to find now. So they had some of these at Rock, so I grabbed that on CD. And they had some of these also. This was put out by same thing, Arcane Steel. what are they, like a grease company or someplace over there? But anyway, I went to their website and I had this on my wish list, but you know, shipping to the States and all that. And over at Rocks, they got a handful of these in. They are a Southern, I think, California band, and I had one of their demos back in the day. This has all three of their demos plus their 1989, 1990, 1992 demos, plus, well, I think that was about it. Anyway, love this band, love the style, and yeah, just great stuff. Just straightforward metal, Judas Priesty type metal, not melodic, not hair, just straight up metal, but yet still, you know, of a mid level there. These other ones are, this one also came, well, all of these came from Rocks actually. All Things Fallen. I had gotten a couple of their like EPs digitally they sent to me years ago, and then this came out as an album. They are a Swedish band, and so it's got kind of a it's not really power metal, kind of symphonic, but not really. They got keyboards and vocals, and it's melodic, and it's, you know, but it's, you know, crunchy. And anyway, I enjoyed their original EPs back a while back, and so I had to grab this. And again, this is not something that Rocks put out, but it was something that got their hands on some copies, so I grabbed that. These came from Soundmass Records. I mentioned that single in one of the previous ones. This came with those actually. This is Trinity. I didn't know anything about these bands. This is straight up doom, kind of stonerish rock, but it's just doom. Forget who it reminds me of. I was playing this, I thought, wow, this sounds so much like, but you know, it's just a straightforward doom type metal. Keep an eye. I mean, this is from Soundmass. This is, I think, an Australian band, so there is shipping and everything involved. I got this with some other things, and so that I haven't shown yet. That so the shipping was discounted. And then the last one is this band Cry Mercy. Again, I didn't know a whole lot about them. I heard some samples online. I want to say these might be. This was issued. This is a reissue of an album that came out in '95. So it's got that 90s flair, kind of it's still metal, but it's, you know, it's more getting into a little bit of the alternative type stuff, but not really. Pretty decent, heavy stuff. And anyway, so I went ahead and grabbed that. Again, I was buying some stuff, and when you get shipping from Australia, you go ahead and buy it all together so you can save some money there. Great stuff. Check it out if you're into that. And that is going to be it of the CD collection, and this is way too long, so I'll be done. That's it for now. I'll be back. Rock on and rock hard.